Reinhardt, Miss Fluke here, and today we're going to talk about brass. Brass instruments are instruments that are made out of metal or brass and that you blow through to play. This means that they're one of the two types of wind instruments. Woodwinds, we talked about last week, are also wind instruments. Brass instruments come from a special group of instruments called labrazones, which literally means instruments that you vibrate your lips into to play. All brass instruments have one thing in common, and that is a mouthpiece. Players buzz their lips into the mouthpiece, causing vibration to travel through the instrument and out the bell of the instrument to create the sound. So let's do a little challenge. Right now, can you think in your head of any brass instruments? Any instruments made of brass that you buzz your lips into to create the vibration that makes sound come out the bell? Can you name any of them? Can you name all of them? So let's talk about the main brass instruments you'll find in the orchestra. First up, we have the trumpet. The trumpet has a mouthpiece and a bell, and the player buzzes their lips into the mouthpiece to create vibration to create sound. As the player presses down the valves, the path in which the vibrations take out the end of the instrument can change, and that helps change the pitch. Players also have to use their mouth, called their embouchure, to change the way the pitches sound. Next, we have the French horn. The French horn has a mouthpiece and a bell as well, and it's a very long instrument. If you unwound a French horn, it would be over 12 feet long. The player buzzes into the mouthpiece and the air travels through the entire instrument and out the bell. They also use valves to change pitches, although these valves look just a little bit different. Up next, I have an instrument that I hear in my house a lot, and it's the trombone. The trombone is unique because unlike all of its other brass brothers and sisters that we're talking about today, it does not have valves. Instead, it has a slide that the player slides back and forth to lengthen and shorten the instrument to change the pitch. Like the other brass instruments, the player also has to use their embouchure, the way their mouth is, to help change the pitch. Up next is the tuba, the biggest of the brass instruments and therefore the lowest. The tuba has a much larger mouthpiece than the other instruments that players buzz into, but it also has a bell where the sound travels out and the valves that are pressed to change the pitches. A special mention this week on our brass episode is the sousaphone. The sousaphone is not an orchestral instrument. It's actually a marching band instrument. It was created for tuba players to be able to play their instruments while being in a marching band. Sousaphones wrap around a player so that it's easier to carry because they're so large and heavy. And the bell is placed above the player's head so that the whole band and the audience can hear the bass line. Sousaphones got their name from John Philip Sousa. He was called the March King, so what better person to name a marching tuba after than the March King himself, John Philip Sousa. So that's it. That's the brass family. Did you know some of those instruments before we talked about them today? Now, it can be easy to confuse some woodwind instruments and some brass instruments because there are woodwind instruments that are made of metal. Remember, brass instruments have some things in common. They're made of metal or brass, and they have a mouthpiece that you buzz into to create the sound. The woodwinds that are made of metal might have come from wooden ancestors, might use a reed, but they also have holes along the body of the instrument that you can close to change the pitch. Well, that's it. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Keep making music and have do, re, mi, fa so much fun. Bye.